connected. From some smoke. Doesn't get prettier than that.
No, I don't remember it.
And a one-hand effort by Harris. And Harris stabs it.
Welcome one, welcome all, and boy, are we lucky to be here with Bruce and Big T once again. And Bruce absolutely grinding out the Wednesday, Thursday news carousel, basically with Deuce Bailey. The amount of ats I got, I was dropping people off at the airport, aka my parents and stuff, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I better not be missing a damn thing. But Bruce, the grind in the weekday leads us to another Friday night slate that we'll get to. You'll have a full playbook course and everything up, but I got to go to Big T first here. You know why, Bruce? Because the 5K winner on a Wednesday night college football slate, what was it, Cam Lacey for Middle Tennessee or whatever? Is that who just absolutely went off that game?
Yeah, and it was one of those slates, honestly. That's why I give Bruce the credit, as always, because everything kind of fit. Most weekday slates, like, you have a pretty obvious build. And yeah, the chalky plays sometimes miss, but there's like obvious plays. And there was only one spot that was open on my team. Like, every other spot was just, I wasn't going to play anyone else. So the one spot was Lacey, and that was the difference maker. And I don't remember what Bruce's note was, but I read his note. It convinced me. I looked at his game logs. He looked strong. And that was the extent of it. It took me about, 10 minutes to put the team together, read the playbook like I always do, looked at some odds. And yeah, Lacey just nuked. And these weeknight slates, as Bruce knows, I mean, you get guys that get good plays, get 5. Like, it's just weird stuff happens. I mean, they're terrible teams. Last night you had some favorites getting smacked around for a minute and then come back. It's fun. I actually like the greaseball slates, though. So I like these weeknights. Tonight we even got, a 3-gamer again tonight. So I love it. Bruce posted something early in the week, too, saying something like 4,700 projections in the book or something for the week, whatever the number was.
2,600.
I don't know how he does it, but I'm glad he's on our side.
100%, Bruce. Absolutely grinding the hell out of these slates. It can't go unnoticed.
Look at his card collection back there, too. I mean, look how good every time he adds more and more cards every week, I think, just to like show us up. You got a tennis picture behind you. He's got like 20 grand, probably more than 20 grand.
More than 20. More than 20, bro. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Bruce. Just so people know, like, I know we brought this up on the show before, but the amount of like rookie cards of elite players.
How much is it worth? Way more than 20? Did I undershoot it by a lot?
I don't know. I haven't sat down and really added it up. But
you're allowed to call me out. Was it? I mean, I might have undershot it. It looks good though.
I don't know. My Vince Young autograph collection really didn't take off, unfortunately, but everything else is doing pretty well.
I almost just spit my drink out when you said the Vince Young collection.
And those cards, the amount of just NBA cards, soccer cards, and stuff like that, and obviously the college football. He was showing me some high school football player cards last week before the show started. He's like, you got some Oregon commits and stuff.
Got to get them while they're young. They're cheaper. So
get them while they're young. Words to live by.
Oh, I don't know about that. That's got a lot of people in trouble, I think. But yeah, you were talking about Lacey. A couple weeks ago. We had Dylan Riley, the Boise running back, for 3K. Some people played him, and on the night slate he scored like 60, and he was like not even 1% owned, and like if you played him, you just basically cashed. It was automatic cash. So those guys are sometimes great. You just fall into that. It's an easy cash, sometimes easy W for you. But man, last weekend was rough. Probably the most frustrating main slate I've had in a long time. It was just one of those days. It was good to bounce back on the night. The night slate was a lot better, and frustrating. It made me work harder this week if that's possible. I've been off for my other job, so it's been fun to kind of dig into the slate. It's very, it's a very solid slate for sure.
Absolutely. UC absolutely whooping up on Iowa State last week, baby. I mean, you know how fun that was to watch? You know how bad it was to watch, though, being on Cyrus Allen's overs, and that was the only prop that had Sorsby touchdowns on a lot of parlays and stuff, too. It's like passing touchdown over 1.5. So, like, all I needed was Allen, and then Goody catches the long bomb, and I just knew it was cooked then. But
the Cincinnati receiver situation is just a disaster. Like, there's so many of them, and the ones that go off. But when your guys don't do anything, they like literally do nothing. So it's just a hard spot to pinpoint.
Cyrus Allen caught the first pass of the game. I'm getting excited. He caught one more pass the rest of the game.
We'll talk about it later, but there was like one guy that I'd never seen before that was out there, a guy with dreads, and he was just like, he looked like their best receiver. I don't know if y'all noticed, like Noah Jennings, I think his name is.
He caught the long ball, right? Wasn't it like a long touchdown?
Yeah.
Back, right?
Yeah, where'd he come from? I mean, I think he's played like a little bit, but he looked great. He looked like their best receiver.
There was multiple times where I knew the Cyrus Allen prop was cooked. That was one of them. When Noah Jennings caught that long one, it was called back. I'm like, well, I mean, if Cyrus Allen's not even going to get looks down the field, but Evan Pryor and Tawee Walker looking like Adrian Peterson out there. I mean, Iowa State's got a lot of problems that they're on the slate too, I believe, right? So
yeah,
against Colorado on the road there. I'm actually very curious to hear what you guys have to say about the game. But first, we will get to these games ahead of us here right now. And the first one. All right, Bruce. No one in the world saw what happened last week. Saw it coming. UCLA beating up on Penn State in the first half, hanging on throughout the entire game there. And, well, you know what? It goes to what Big T was saying. Drew Aller sucks. I'm going to go ahead and just go out there too, Bruce. I think Singleton is just not it for Penn State. Like, that dude is averaging like less than 4 yards a carry and stuff. But UCLA, one hell of a performance. This week, the spread is much closer as well. This is my favorite time of the year because I'm like immediately going to think Big T's going to agree with me. But I'm like, I like the Michigan State and I like Michigan State in the spread here because, letdown game. That's one thing I've learned from you two. You guys talked about letdown games a little bit. But Bruce, talk to me about UCLA and Michigan State.
Yeah, this game is kind of strange. Big upset win, and then you have to go on the road to East Lansing and play Michigan State. So, both teams are kind of underachieving this year. So, man, it's rough. You have some good players on both sides though. Like I know Big T loves Childs and Nico. So there's good quarterbacks here. I know Childs is going to have some ownership just because he's 6,500. Nico is 6,200, and his usage is crazy. He's going to have one of those games this year, like he did against Penn State, where he runs the football well and passes the ball well. So it is a road game, so I have less interest in Nico than I have in Childs here. You got to remember this UCLA defense is really bad. Even though they played well against Penn State, it's still a very, very bad defense. And I think Michigan State can take advantage a little bit. Mekhi Frazier, the Michigan State running back, is really solid at 4,800. He's definitely going to be owned. And then you have Omari Kelly and Nick Marsh, who are two really good receivers, and both under 5,600. So I think they're in play for sure. And then the two UCLA receivers, Gilmer and Rico Flores at 3K. They didn't price him up at all. He played the whole game against Penn State, had 4 targets, and looked solid there. So that's good 3K shitter there for us on the slate. So I do like Michigan State here. It should be a closer game, and there are some good value plays here in this one.
Yeah, you got some ownership on Michigan State here with Aiden Childs. You got him above 20%, Mekhi Frazier as well, and then Marsh and Kelly getting a little bit of ownership too. So it's a very, intriguing spot. And Big T, you were on Aiden Childs overs against USC. I'm wondering if you're going to be on his overs again going against another West Coast team. What do you think?
It's going to be hard not to like these Michigan State guys. The only reason you wouldn't like them is just ownership. I mean, our boy Chili's, I like calling him Chili's. He looks way better than he is. I mean, we've seen him for a few years too. He's another one of these college quarterbacks. You watch him at times and he looks you're just like, this dude's going to run for 200 yards and throw for 200 yards. but then you'll watch him another quarter and he can't complete a pass. He's taking sacks. It's just your standard college quarterback that can look really good or really bad. I mean, the ownership makes sense on these guys, but we have a lot of receivers on this slate that are underpriced. The pricing is going to be super, super loose. I just don't know how you can really get away from playing some of these guys, though. I mean, he's 6,500. You just look at his numbers. He's been solid. I mean, he went for 30 against USC. He did struggle at Nebraska, but that's somewhat of a tough spot at Nebraska. And he still went for 16 in that game, 13 rush attempts. I wish he would run more. Some of these games, I feel like he could have taken off a ton in that USC game. That was the only game I watched the entire game of, but I felt like he could have run way more than he did. He obviously can't throw that good, but he's got 270 versus Youngstown State, I'm assuming that is. And then you look at these receivers for Michigan State. I think they got a decent amount of upside themselves at these prices. But again, that's why they're going to be high owned. The running backs who I don't necessarily need, but he's 4,800 too. And you start looking at him, his rush attempts, 18, 14, 12, 17. He's a guy that I feel like I could get away from a little bit, but his projection is going to make it tough. He's projected for 20, 30% ownership as well, but the pricing's loose. I don't really know if I need him. Nick Marsh is the guy that looks like the beast to me, and he's 5,500. I don't know. He just looks the best, but you look at that, 4 for 41, 2 for 28 the last 2 weeks. He hasn't looked great. All 3 of his touchdowns came the first 2 weeks. I don't know. Could Michigan State bust as chalk? Yeah, this could be a college game that busts. UCLA, what do we make of them? I mean, they were horrible going into last week, and then they totally dominate Penn State the entire game. Look like a solid team. Nico's always had big-time prospect to him. I still think he's pretty bad, but you got a 53 total. I don't know. I tend to be more on the Michigan State side. And a lot of these UCLA guys, you're just not going to like on this slate. So my issue with Nico, who do I really pair him with? I mean, quasi 6,700. That's just expensive for what you're getting. I don't know. The tough part for me for sure in this game is how to stack it up because I don't like UCLA side. But Michigan State, you're going to have to play some. My boy Chili's has to be probably my top quarterback. I don't really see a way around that.
So one thing I just want to note too, Childs did not play the last drive, Bruce. Is that injury related or just blowout related? Or was that Milojevic or something like that?
Yeah. I can't. I'm not too sure. I think it was just blowout related.
Okay.
Yeah.
He did match, almost match Childs' passing production in the last drive and did score a touchdown. But yeah,
is he like more of a passer or something?
He's got to be. I mean, he threw for 71 yards in the one drive.
To be fair, almost everyone's more of a passer than him, but yes.
Yeah. He all he had going for him in the game was a couple rushing touchdowns and average 2 yards per carry. So yeah, it was not a great game for him at all.
It honestly, that's what college football is all about, though. And one thing I think we do good is you got to pay attention to these spots. Even though at Nebraska doesn't seem that Nebraska is not a great team, it's still a tough place for a team like Michigan State to go to. Now they're at home versus UCLA, who just got a massive victory last week. It's just a perfect storm, I think, for Michigan State to really lay a whooping here.
I think that Nebraska defense is much better than people are giving it credit for. I mean, I'm not going to say that UC is a stout offense or anything like that. But they only gave up 7.
You like me with the Nuggets. Everything comes back to Cincinnati football on this show.
Well, they went against UC. I watched that whole game and stuff, right? And then Nebraska's 4-1 right now. They barely lost to Michigan too. I mean, barely lost, but it's 30-27. So, I mean, I think they might be a better team than we give them credit for. Michigan State at home against the UCLA team on a high right now. Yeah, I think I'm with you guys on Childs. I pair him up. I think I like Kelly a little bit more than Marsh just because of the price difference. But that can be expected here. Is Belling questionable or something like that, Bruce? I see his ownership was 0 here. I didn't know.
Not that I know of. I think he's okay, but
I love jamming
I'll
in.
find that. Yeah.
I love jamming in my tight ends here. Now, I just saw the ownership there. I just made me think maybe it was a Sabre thing, but no worries. We'll move on to an SEC affair. Bama covering against Vandy last week, by the way. Yeah, absolutely dominant cover performance there. It wasn't on a 4th and 2 to run up the score a little bit, twist the knife. They had to do it after what Pavia said. I respected it a ton. What was it? Jam Miller who took it to the house. Ty Simpson, Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams. We know the stacks with Bama here. They're not going to be that high owned. The team total is not amazing at all. I mean, this game is going to go pretty under-owned in general, but Bruce, you're a big fan of Ahmad Hardy, right? I mean, like 8,300 might seem like a tall tag, but as Big T alluded to, we do have very loose pricing on this slate. Could Hardy make some of your builds here?
Yeah, definitely. His rush prop is almost 100 yards. He's hard to tackle. I mean, 5.3 yards after contact per attempt is elite. And, the Missouri offensive line has been really good. And, the way to beat Bama really is to run the football effectively. We saw against Florida State, they had issues stopping a bad Florida State running team. And then they had issues against Vandy last week. Alexander, I don't know if he got hurt, but he only got 4 rushes for 76 yards and a touchdown. I know he had a long touchdown run early on in the game, but I think that's the way to do it, and that's kind of something that Mizzou can exploit a little bit. I know he's 8,300, so he's really a tournament play only, but he's a stud, so I don't mind playing him in tournaments. Same with Jamal Roberts. They kind of Hardy gets about 21 carries per game, and then Roberts gets about 10. Both are in play in tournaments for sure. When you look at Alabama, they're going on the road here off of a big win. Ty Simpson's 9K, so he's not going to have a ton of ownership. But if you fall behind, I could see them throwing a little bit more here. And their offenses look great. Bernard and Horton and Williams, they're reasonably priced here. Horton's only 48, Bernard 59, and Williams is always priced up at 79. So that's not too bad. And then you have Kevin Coleman and Marquise Johnson on the other side. Coleman's 6,300. So that's a little pricey, but he's a playmaker, and I don't mind him at all. He's a stud. So yeah, I kind of like Mizzou to at least keep this game close and run the football effectively on Bama here.
Yeah, and for DFS wise, I mean, it does feel like Hardy, and you're a big fan of Kevin Coleman as well. But yeah, maybe if you wanted to dance with Ty Simpson, Bernard Williams type style. But Big T, what are you doing with this game?
Yeah, it's I see our boy. What's our boy's screen name? I always see the head. What's that dude's name? What's his screen name?
That's Hoff.
Yeah, the Hoffbrow. Where you at, Hoffbrow? I haven't seen you. Got to be in that chat. Don't be leaving us during these niche sports. I got to see you in that chat. I haven't seen you in there. But one of the best, the Hoff. This is another tricky road spot for me where I have to like Missouri. But are we really sure Missouri is good? It's kind of where I remember a few weeks ago where and this is maybe 3 or 4, maybe even a month ago now. Yeah. I love the Hoff. Yeah, it was probably even a month ago now where no one really knew anything about Missouri. We had the chalk situation on the slate. They kind of nuked. Are we really sure they're that much better now to only be getting 3 points? They are at home. Bama kind of looks like they've put it together to me. They looked really good to me again last week. It was at home though last week, right? Versus Vandy. It had to be. I don't know. This is a tricky spot. I don't want to get overexposed on a week where we have a lot of lock type plays this week to me that are underpriced guys. I don't want to go crazy with these tricky road spots. And I mean, Jam Miller, I'm never really going to like him on a road. Jeremy did get cheaper again, and I still will never understand why Ryan Williams continues to be 2,000 more than Jeremy. Maybe for a talent perspective, you could argue it, but how in the world can he be that much more? He's going to be totally unknown. And Horton looks just as good as these guys too when you're basing it on price at only 4,800. So I wish I could talk myself more into Missouri just being weak and maybe Bama secretly shoots out, but this total is only 51. I don't know. I'm a little uneasy about it. I wish I could talk myself into it. And then you look at the Missouri side, Perbola, I mean, he's only got a 17 projection on Sabre. I don't know. I'm a little confused by Missouri. I think they might be not as good as we think they are. So I don't know. This is a tricky spot for me. I don't love a ton here. I do think, like, if you're playing a bunch of teams, though, you could roll the dice and just hope it shoots out. And there is games like that we don't think are going to shoot out. I could see this game doing it if Bama really gets going. It would not be like a main team, though. Just tomorrow's the $25 on DraftKings, right, with the big prize pool. Maybe you just take one bullet and just say, you know what, stack this puppy up and see what happens, because there is plays in this game. And they're all going to be single-digit owned. So like Bruce said, a few slates in college, like every once in a while, you just catch lightning in a bottle. And if a whole game like this with lots of talented guys just totally nukes at 1% owned, you can just run away with the field and win a lot of money in college.
Yeah, 100%. And this could be noted too. I mean, we were on Mizzou that slate. What was it against Kansas, right? It was 42-31. So it had 73 points in it combined. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely potential with it. Yeah, and you could easily make that Bama stack with like a Hardy run back. I kind of like it. Like you said, though, that's like one out of 10 builds or something like that. You don't have to get too carried away with it. There isn't a whole lot to love in that game relative to the slate. But definitely we have seen Mizzou games already eclipse 70 points this season. So Houston, Oklahoma State relying on what was that Howland, that running back, a little bit over recent weeks, and then Rodney Fields being a little bit more involved in the pass game. As far as Houston goes, though, they got Weigman, who's 8.1 here. You got Dean Connors, gets the brunt of the work at the running back position, and then another 3,200 wide receiver who projects really well with 12% ownership. Bruce, what are you doing with Houston, Oklahoma State?
So the crazy thing about this game is that Oklahoma State's quarterback got hurt, so they're kind of out of options. So they could start Sam Jackson, the $3,000 wide receiver here at quarterback. So yeah, if that happens, that's a 3K lock probably. Definitely. He's a running option. He played quarterback at Cal a little bit, and I think TCU maybe. He's been around for sure. So yeah, if that happens, just pencil him into your lineups, because he's gonna be playing quarterback, and you love to see that 3K. On the other side, Weigman got a little banged up last week, but he's good to go, so he's gonna start for Houston. Other than that,
quarterback Sam Jackson. Who are we talking about?
Yeah, Sam Jackson.
He's a quarterback.
He's a 3K tight end or a 3K wide receiver, but he played quarterback before. Before he transitioned to receiver. But yeah, he should start at quarterback unless something else changes. But that's so
everyone's just going to play him then.
Yeah, he should be a 3K lock. I think. He's only showing 13% ownership at the moment, but
the only problem that I could see, though, and I just found out about this, so I haven't thought it through, is when he turns into massive chalk, he can definitely still get like 9 fantasy points. And that's not the same when it's a 3K shitter like we talk about. When it's a 3K chalky, you need more than just the 9-12 points.
For sure. Yeah. And he has upside as a runner for sure. So it is a little scary if you play someone else and you just absolutely nukes. This is a tough matchup for sure. Houston's defense has been pretty solid this year. But yeah, it's a tough fade if you fade a 3K quarterback at receiver. That's always scary.
Oh, and you're 100% right, because when they get like 18 or something, you're just in big trouble because everyone's going to have it.
Yep. Yeah. This game is pretty gross. Otherwise, the I don't want to play any running backs really against Houston. They're decent on their defensive line. Their receivers, Amari Thomas isn't bad at 3,200. I think he'll get some ownership. He was good last week. Had 8 targets. Had 10 the week before. So, yeah, Sam Jackson and maybe Amari Thomas for me, and kind of moving on.
Fun fact, Sam Jackson has played for 4 colleges in his 5 years. Great stuff there. He did throw the most passing attempts of his career was 2023, where he threw 96 passes with Cal. That resulted into 556 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Took 5 sacks as well, but he also ran 26 times for 59 yards and a touchdown. I assume that would mean definitely no on any wide receivers for Oklahoma State. You'd probably think that, but Big T, obviously you hear about the Oklahoma State situation, but what do you think of Houston as well?
You're definitely not playing when you have a guy that's 3K and a quarterback, like, you're definitely not playing a receiver with it, because they're going to have all kinds of problems getting the ball. They don't have a big total. You're only playing the guy. This is the situation that I try to think through more than most people, and my reasoning might not be right, but like, if he was 5K, would anyone play him? And the answer is probably no. 6K, no one's playing him. So really, does it really mean I should just shove the guy in just because he's 3K when we have everybody's too cheap on this slate? There's tons of receivers that are too cheap that have actual upside. I guess my question is, does he have actual upside even though he's 3K? Like, does he ever have a 30-point game in him, Bruce? Like, we need a Rubio. Where's the chart, Bruce? That he used to click on the name. I need the
I did click on his name. I don't know if you saw that.
Where's the chart from Sammy Jackson? Yeah, I don't know. Tell me what you think of the pie chart there, Rubio. Does it show any upside?
It shows that he lands at about like 3 or 4 fantasy points more than 18% of the time.
I honestly think it's somewhat likely that he gets you like 9 and just looks horrific the whole game.
I'm going to say this, Big T. I got to watch an Oklahoma State game earlier this year, right? And that Zane Flores sucked. So I think whatever Zane Flores was getting, you can actually project for Sam Jackson, because there is no shot he is worse than Zane Flores. I'll put it that way.
I don't know. He might be worse than him. It's going to be bad. I promise you. He might even get there and get like 15 points or something, but it's going to be bad. There's no way it looks good. You're going to have to get lucky where he like throws a deep post and it like gets tipped up in the air and the guy goes to the house type thing. I mean, it's not going to be clean points. You're going to have to work for your 15. So
you need some Ryan Brown magic.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
First of all, AJ always wants to talk some trash. I'm not saying it's a bad play at 3K. I'm saying I don't think it's a lock like some people will think it. This dude stinks. It's college football. It's not NFL. You need upside in college football. I mean, guys nuke. You got 3K receivers that could get 30. You got 4K receivers that can get 30. It's not as clean cut as you would think in other sports. Is my only point. That being said, I'm not saying I'm not playing a 3K quarterback. It's still a 3K quarterback. I'm just saying, think it through a little more. That's what I think I do good, is think these situations through a little bit. The Houston side, I've always liked Dean Connors probably more than I should. I don't know. These guys are fine. I just don't. I don't think Oklahoma State's really going to do all that much. So I don't love this game.
And one more point, too. If you offered 15 before the game in a single entry contest, you would snap it out of the hands. Be like, I'll take it.
Everyone would snap it. Yeah.
If you offered,
that still doesn't mean you're going to win the contest.
That's what I was going to say. If you offered you 15 and the $25, I don't think you would take that, and you'd rather gamble.
I mean, it gets still a little dicey where you might lock the 15 in and just try to work with it. I agree with you. Yeah, we're saying this similar.
There's a lot of 3K wide receivers who could definitely eclipse 15 on this slate.
And some of them will, but a lot of them won't too. You're going to have a lot that bust too. It goes to that situation where if I gave you that, I don't see how you wouldn't just like totally lock it, and you might not end up with the nuts, but all your teams are going to be in way better shape. Like if you just got 15 at 3K locked in there on every slot.
Bruce,
It's going to be hard to get 15 though. It's not a given that he gets there.
So Matt Zenitz of CBS Sports even reported that Sam Jackson will probably get the start tomorrow. Bruce, what do you think his ownership balloons up to?
Man, probably. I haven't built a ton yet, which I'll probably do that tonight. But man, if he's confirmed starting, I would say 40 maybe. I guess we'll
I don't
see.
think it'll be that high.
You don't think?
I just his projection still can't be high enough with the optimizers and stuff. 40's a lot.
Yeah. Even right now with preliminary reports, he's barely double digits. So
let me ask you this. What do you think a good projection is?
I have him at 12 right now. And that's if I think he starts, but that's mainly because, it factors in Houston, how much they've given up to the quarterback spot, which is 14 per game. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough matchup, especially for a guy, it's getting his first QB start in a long while.
Just in general, with my projections that I haven't really changed that much, I just ran it with projection, not Sims or anything, just naked projections. I gave him 14. He only hits 8% of my builds at 14. That shows you how underpriced a lot of people are on this slate.
Yeah.
That's a good tidbit.
I just don't think people can make fun of me all they want. I just don't think it's near as much of a lock as people will think in general.
I'm with you. That Oklahoma State, I mean, what are they implied? 15 points, 16 points?
And they're going to be worse than people can imagine. I mean, they're going to be so bad.
150 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air is what? 14 fantasy points? So,
and that's assuming no fumbles or picks or stuff. I mean,
no negative rush.
You lose yards for sacks too in college, and there's a lot of negatives to them.
You have some good 3K guys too. We'll get to later, but we already mentioned Rico Flores, and then you have Emmett Mosley later for Texas that played really well too. So there's a lot of good plays at 3K.
100%, and we will move on to an ACC matchup here. Florida State gets to host Pitt for this one. The first time I'm seeing this, Bruce, no Holstein for this one, it looks, right? So it's going to fall on, that Mason dude for Pitt here, playing the quarterback position. I'm afraid to announce last names anymore, but I'm assuming that's German. It's probably Heinzschel or something like that, but I might have botched that pretty bad, but without their number one quarterback here, you got Deuce Robinson, who looked pretty good the last few weeks here. I think, what was it, against Tech, he went off. Then against Miami, he had a pretty decent game for the most part. Salchuk, and that running back situation was a little bit weird. Didn't they go with the other running back who kind of started out? It was Usmane Kroma, who started that game even. But then you flip it over to Pitt. We got our usuals here with Kenny Johnson, Raphael Williams, and Goff. What are you doing with this game here, Bruce?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I struggle to get to anybody here on the Pitt side for sure, but you have Deuce Robinson at 4,600. Guy's got 24 targets the last 2 weeks. He looks like he's finally figuring it out. I was always hoping he would figure it out at USC, but he looks really good, and he's only 4,600. That's another good value guy we have at receiver this week. So I really like him. Outside of that, man, if you're thinking that maybe FSU isn't great on defense, and this Heinzschel guy, I have no idea how to say it either. It's the first time I've ever said it out loud. If you're banking that he's good, you could play some of this passing game because they're gonna sling the ball for sure. I mean, he came in. I think he had 4 or 5 touchdowns in his first start, and he looked great. So I don't mind playing him. And they're without Des Reed tomorrow as well. So I don't mind that in tournaments. But Deuce Robinson and kind of move on for me. Kenny Johnson's not bad at 4,500 either, and Poppy is always in play at 42. But it's just these receivers in this game for me.
Makes sense here, and obviously that Florida State team made Malachi Tony and CJ Daniels look like absolute studs. Which Malachi Tony, oh my God, that dude. He is a stud. He might be my favorite player to watch in college football right now. When Miami's playing, I always bet Tony's overs just blindly. And I have a good time watching it because I know he's going to be open down the field quite a bit. And he even had one where Beck put it on a dot and he dropped it even. I would consider it a drop, but obviously Florida State was a little bit weak against the pass last time out. Big T, what are you doing with it? Yep.
I haven't been on mute in a minute. I got a kid. It's the first time all season. I got a kid's birthday party going on here with kids freaking everywhere.
Oh, damn.
But I was meaning to say, is this freaking Mangone? You'll bet me whatever he wants that he doesn't get negative rushing yards? Really, you're really stepping out on a limb there. I mean, wow, what a take. I mean, that's flaming hot right there that he doesn't go negative.
Well, I kind of want to throw this out here because I did look at his rushing stats in the time that he actually played in 2023. He only eclipsed 20 rushing yards just once, and he also had a game against ASU where he had -9 rushing yards.
Yeah, but he's ready to bet me that he won't go negative. Like, I mean, what kind of take is that? I mean, why not say he won't go over 20, like you just said? Okay, he won't go negative? What does this come to? We have to score points. Have a take. Say he's going to score 2 touchdowns and score 17 points. Like, I mean, but this Pittsburgh situation, it can't be worse. This quarterback can't be worse. Goff still looks like a really good play to me at 4,200. Can Pittsburgh score on Florida State? If they can score on them, I think that we could see fireworks in this game. I'm just not sure they can. Kenny Johnson looks good with a new quarterback in there. Are we sure for sure Des Reed is out?
I think so. I got to look at it again, but when I did projections, that was the case. So.
I hope he's out just because Jared Goff. I mean, if he somehow played, I mean, he's 5K too, which would be somewhat interesting. But Goff, 4,200. We got our boy Big Poppy Williams, 4,200. I don't know. I kind of like these Pitt guys a little bit. In Florida State, no one's going to want to play Castellanos at 9,600 because that price is just crazy. But you have so much value on this slate. I think you could play him with Deuce Robinson. Everyone's going to want to play Deuce. I think you could. I think you could put it up here a little bit. And Pitt averaging 41 points. Pitt can score. Their coaching staff. I'm assuming it's still the same staff, right, Bruce? That last year, all these same that get up in tempo and stuff. Yep. I think we could see some points in this game. It looks like a sneaky shootout to me. And in a slate too, I want to talk a lot about the $25 this week just because it's one of the bigger contests we've had so far this year. I don't mind like playing some game stacks in here. In college, it works a lot where you stack up a game and when it shoots out, because I want upside. I want to take this thing down, and I don't mind spreading around a little bit. So I think this game could shoot out. What'd you say about this quarterback? So he went 30 for 41, 323. That's instantly better than Holstein. I don't know. I'm kind of talking myself into a little game stack here.
Best paced game on the main slate too. Fastest pace.
It makes a lot of sense. The total's 57.5, and Florida State's favored by 10.5. But if Pitt can score, I think this game could nuke. There is a path too, like a lot of game stacks where Pitt just stinks and they don't really move the ball and the game busts. But who cares? We're trying to take first place in that $25.
Yep, and again, Florida State's pass defense against Carson Beck in Miami was shredded. I mean, that was the big thing. So you'll have plenty of options here with the Pitt wide receivers that Bruce was mentioning here earlier. Kenny Johnson and Raphael Williams, 45 and 4,200.
Poppy.
Yeah, Poppy Williams. So, yeah, good stuff ahead. We'll move on to UCLA.
Here we go. We need a hand check.
What are you talking about? Bruce, talk to me about the legend, the man, the myth, the Heisman contender.
Did you just adjust? You just got a little movement. After I said hand check, you just adjusted.
I got to say, I mean, is there a better quarterback in college football right now than Brendan Sorsby? And before you answer gut check, no, there isn't a whole lot of good ones out there. So Sorsby been an absolute machine at home here against the UCF team. I think Cyrus Allen, like obviously we were just alluding to it earlier, you have just a bunch of wide receivers and even tight ends like Joe Royer who can make an impact where it's hard to stack up Sorsby at the time. And even both running backs, Evan Pryor and Tawee Walker, splitting time pretty equally. Evan Pryor got like the fifth touch in that game. It was Tawee Walker who was kind of running all over him. And then he got the first touchdown, busted a long one out. And then, yeah, I mean, the rest is history. That Iowa State defense, both on the ground and through the air, very disheartening. I'm going to like Colorado a lot, which I'm kind of glad that they're an underdog. And so Big T can't make fun of me for only liking favorites later on. But UC here, I mean, what's not to like here, Bruce, outside not being able to stack too much with Sorsby?
Yeah, it could be a fun game. I mentioned earlier there's some good 3K plays on the slate, and Noah Jennings is one of them for sure at 3K. He got 5 targets last week. His ADOT's 13. I thought he kind of looked like the best receiver for Cincinnati last week. So I don't mind him at all, especially if you're not playing the 3K quarterback at receiver. So I think he's solid. I don't really like playing running backs against UCF just because their defensive line is usually pretty solid, and that's kind of the case this season. But since he does have 2 really good running backs in Walker and Pryor, it's just hard getting them right. Last week it was 54% of the snaps for Pryor, and then Walker got 46. I love the note that this is Evan Pryor's first two touchdown game when I had some Tawee Walker. So that's I always love to hear those first time stats like that whenever you're holding the other guy. So, but yeah, I love Sorsby here. He's going to run the football, 10 rushes per game, 5 rushing touchdowns this year. So he's going to run the ball. And since UCF's defense isn't that great, other than the rush defense, the defensive line's always pretty good. But yeah, like you mentioned, it's hard to play any of these receivers. Target share is always usually pretty spread out. 25% of the target share goes to Cyrus Allen, but he did absolutely nothing last week. I don't mind going back to him in tournaments. He's still cheap enough where you can fit him in. If you're going to play any UCF guys coming back, I guess it would be Dwayne Thomas at 3,800 and DJ Black at 3,200. No idea who's starting for them at quarterback because their starter got knocked out last week. I thought he just totally broke his arm. It looked really bad, but I'm guessing they start Fancher there. But no idea. I just think Cincy wins this one pretty easily.
It's good to hear, Bruce. Really good to hear because we've had a UC hater the last 2 weeks, and I just want to point this out. I think they're plus 1,100 to win the Big 12. What do you think about that, Big T? Plus 1,100 to win the Big 12.
I mean, I don't think it's the worst bet ever. I'll give you that. I think it's decent value. It's not like the conference is some like powerhouse this year.
They did face their toughest test in Iowa State and won it, and I think the rest of the road is like I don't think they play any of the big dogs here. Like going down,
they're probably going to drop some game you wouldn't think they'd drop. Like they're going to play some greaseball team and just say like Kansas State or like some greaseball team's going to sneak up on them. I'm still dying though. Bruce posted in the Discord this big quarterback. He said guy already has a helmet on. Got me dying. Look at that haircut. I don't know if I can play. He's got a worse haircut than Rubio. I don't know if I can play him. That is that's something special there.
I said guys like that look like that only care about ball. That's what
that's good. See, now that's a good counterpoint. They're not at all worried about the ladies. They're not at all worried about their hair. They're only worried about slinging the rock. See? That's a great counterpoint right there. I'm right back on the Mason Heinschel train. I don't like this Cincinnati game though, not because of all the jokes with Cincinnati, not because of that. They just have so many receivers. I don't know who to play. I don't trust the UCF side at all to push them. I don't think they're any good. I just get frustrated. I mean, we're talking about Noah Jennings. There's literally there's 4 guys ahead of him on the chart of like projection wise. I just can't do it. Sorsby's a decent play. I don't mind it. If you really had a strong take at receiver, I would just come back with it like Cyrus Allen, just come right back with him in his upside. But I just don't need oh my God, now you're posting things. You're killing me in the chat here. You're distracting me. We got a Jeff Sims sighting. Oh my gosh, he was horrific. horrific at quarterback, and he's 30 years old. How in the world is he coming back? But I don't love this situation.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I mean, I do like the fact that if you did want to run back Cyrus Allen again after betraying us last week, you could absolutely do that. But yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of reason to kind of get excited about it. I was looking up Sorsby's Heisman odds, and I don't even think he's listed. So yeah, there he is, 120 to 1. I mean, why not?
You're betting him to win the Heisman now? I can get on board 11 to 1 to win the Big 12. I don't know about Sorsby to win the Heisman.
120 to 1, Big T. Can you imagine?
It's going to be 0 to 1 because that thing isn't there. I mean, what are we doing?
Blindly, Tony. I want you to do this because I think Bruce might be a little bit more plugged in. But who do you think the top 3 Heisman guys are right now? It is incredibly bad.
I don't even want to play the game because I genuinely can't. I wouldn't even know where to start.
Dante Moore, Carson Beck, and Ty Simpson.
Yeah, I would have definitely said Ty Simpson just because of how good Bama. I wouldn't have got that. I guess I should have got Oregon too. I should have got 2 of those 3.
The fact it's plus 550. We don't have a clear front.
It's got to be the most wide open it's been. Ohio State. What about an Ohio State guy if they really start exploding?
Smith 11 to 1, saying plus 1700. So
what's Jeremiah Smith?
11 to 1 plus 1100. So
what's that quarterback?
17.
I think he's a decent flyer at 17 to 1.
I bet on an Ohio State wide receiver like every year since 2020. So this is the only year I didn't bet Jeremiah Smith. So
it's the most wide open it's been. One of these teams too, which Ohio State could, is just going to start putting their foot down a little bit here.
Mateer is actually 4th in the odds at plus 950.
And he's hurt though, isn't he?
Sounds like he's going to give it a go for this one here, right, Bruce? I think you'd know a little bit more about that going against Texas, but apparently a Chipotle worker said that Mateer told him he's absolutely going to play.
I mean, I'd be shocked if he didn't play.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll move on from this game and go on to what you were just talking about, the Ohio State pieces with Jeremiah Smith and Julian Sand potentially being in that Heisman mix. But it was Carnell Tate who looked like an absolute stud last week. He's always been a stud, but this year shining as the wide receiver too. And then our guy, Bo Jackson, officially winning that running back battle. I mean, I think they're going to be going to Bo and not looking back. You'll still have Donaldson pretty much in the mix near the goal line and stuff, but Ohio State's offense looks like it's kind of clicking on all cylinders right now. We saw this Illinois defense, against Indiana, losing by 50 plus or whatever. So, yeah, look, I don't like going against the Ohio State defense here, Bruce. I can't imagine that you're going to be thrilled to do that, but the prices on Beatty at 4,500 could be enough to kind of get a little bit of ownership. What are you doing with it?
Yeah, they're going to be trailing here. It's kind of scary for. Kind of scary to play them at any price just because this Ohio State secondary is so good. We saw against Washington. I thought Washington would be able to move the football just a little, but they had no answer. I just think this secondary is too good with Caleb Downs and the rest of those guys. So it's tough for me to play Beatty at 4,500 for sure. But maybe a guy like Dixon at 3,200 is a little bit more palatable. But yeah, Carnell Tate went off. He's kind of playing that role of Egbuka. What he played last year, and he's a stud too. They have such a talented group of receivers like they do every year. So. I don't mind going back to him. Jeremiah Smith is 9K, so he's always tough to play there. He always ends up in that 15 to 20% ownership bucket. So it's just tough for me to play a lot of guys here just because of the prices, and Ohio State's on the road. But I do think they beat Illinois pretty handily. Bo Jackson is a solid play at 5,800, and if you're going to play Jeremiah Smith, I don't mind it either in tournaments, and Carnell Tate at 5,600 is always in play.
Yeah, the big thing with Indiana was they were able to beat them through the air and on the ground. I just think this is a little bit of a gut check game for Illinois, right, where they were able to kind of get back into the rankings a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of put away that 63-10 loss that they had to Indiana and expect them to be competitive against Ohio State. Ohio State just reloads at wide receiver, and then Chris Henry Jr., the number 1 wide receiver, is going to be joining them next year. So even when Tate, if he leaves the program or whatever, they just immediately reload with just top tier talent. Big T, are you on the Ohio State wagon this week?
I am for sure, and I think a lot of these plays are really good plays. So I guess the one question I have is how much can Illinois score? I've seen spots like this though in the past. That's one thing I think I'm pretty good at is just finding spots where maybe it's a soft spot a little bit for Ohio State too, where maybe they let up on the gas just a little too. They had the big game versus Washington. They've been playing big spots. I know this is a road game, but they know Illinois lost by 1 million to Indiana. I don't know. Like, what happens when you get, 30 points somehow from Illinois and you play Altmaier and Beatty? It was weird, though, because I felt like Beatty crushed last week. And then I see on the sheet that he only had 5 targets. So that is not what you necessarily want to see, even though he had big numbers, only 5 targets, because you got to think they're not going to get all that much through Ohio State. But what happens when they do? I think that's a good question to ask in college. What happens when Illinois does score some points? I think Ohio State will just name their number, and you get the pricing lines up too. I mean, Altmaier 6K, Beatty 4,500. You can easily pair it with whoever you want on Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith with all this value, I don't really know how you don't play him. He's going to end up being like 30% owned just because you can fit him. Julian Sane, I mean, he's been solid. Bo Jackson's taken over the job, and Carnell Tate just has an insane amount of upside as he gets more and more of a role. Even this Max Clare dude, was he the tight end, I think, from Purdue?
Yep.
Even he 5 for 63 last week. He's got upside. So it's yet another game. I know, like, I'm throwing a lot of things out there, but it's how I like to play these slates. I think you could stack this game up. No one's going to play Illinois. I think you could also just play some Ohio State pieces. I think they're going to score a good number of points, super high floor. On a slate, we have a lot of values. So I like this game more than I should, and I want to play at least a couple Ohio State pieces on almost all my teams.
Ohio State's offense looked the best it has all year last week, I would say. 326 for the air for San, and it was a 3-man target funnel with Tate, Smith, and Clare, who had 9, 7, and 5 catches. Tate went for 183 and 1. Smith went for 7 for 67 and 2, and then Clare obviously 5 for 63. They had the potential to sling it. It's just up to San, right? Like, they just got to trust San. And PJ Fleck called that Ohio State defense, I think, the best he has seen in 13 years of coaching too. So a lot of momentum for Ohio State going in.
They're not going to play perfect every week, though. That's what people got to remember. They're still college kids. They're still going to be letdowns on the road.
Very much so. And now we'll move on to the North Carolina State Wolfpack taking on Notre Dame here. Notre Dame being a huge favorite. They're starting to click a little bit as well. Jeremiah Love starting to find a little bit of a rhythm. CJ Carr at 9.1. It seems a little bit expensive, but yeah, I mean, this is a Notre Dame team that maybe they have solved their issues, Bruce, especially on the defensive side. What was it, that Arkansas game where they just thrashed the hell out of Arkansas and Sam Pittman ended up getting fired, right? I don't really know what to think about Notre Dame. I mean, obviously they played a pretty good game against Miami, and then against A&M, they should have won that game if the correct call was made. But Boise, they just kind of silently dominated the whole game, only allowing 7 points. Is this defense back to the gold standard that they set last year?
I still don't think so. They got Boise, last week, and Boise's not a good football team. So, I think Arkansas had some more chances to put up more points than they did. But they gave up 30 to Purdue at home. So, I think this NC State team is pretty good offensively. But, it's still a road game. I do like C.J. Bailey in the battle of CJs here. C.J. Carr versus C.J. Bailey. He is 7,200 and does run the ball a little bit. They are, they played last week, but I think they won rather easily. So they got to sit a lot of their guys. Let me check and see. I think because I was looking at Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood Smothers didn't play a ton, so Yeah, that's kind of what I assumed. They won 56-10 against Campbell, so they got to sit their guys. So I don't mind Hollywood Smothers here, but he is 8,400, so he's more of a tournament play. People are just going to jam Jeremiah Love again, 9K. It's a great spot for him. NC State's given up 30 points per game to running backs this year, and he's definitely the best they'll face this year. It is a home game as well, so I think he smashes, and he's easy to fit in there with all the value. Jadarian Price at 6,600, he's getting up there a little bit, but he's he's looked great every single week too. So I don't mind him in tournaments if you're not playing Love. And at receiver, Faison at 4,500 just keeps getting targets, 8 and 7 the last 2 weeks. The NC State guys, Jolie and even Noah Rogers at 3,300, who's been playing the whole game. He has some kind of upside as well. So yeah, I think it could be a good game for offense if NC State shows up like Purdue did. I mean, Purdue put up 30 on this team, and I do think NC State has a solid offense. So they can put up some points. This could turn into a nice little shootout.
Yeah, and I said NC State gave up 40 plus to Duke too, and all that. So yeah, it does have the makings of a potential shootout here. Jeremiah Love at 9K, he's going to come in super chalk, like you said. But Faison, I do like that call at 4,500. Again, like a lot of these receivers that do have 20 plus upside might not just be like Stoneman 3K, but they're in that lower 4K range. Big T, what are you doing with this game?
I mean, Derek, is that your dog with a little bark? What was that noise? I heard a little bark going on. Dare I say Notre Dame has a little bit of wagon tendencies here. A little bit of a wagon they're turning into after the 2 losses. I mean, they're flat out just pounding teams, and they got guys that look good. I mean, Jeremiah Love looks unstoppable right now. CJ Carr looks pretty good. I mean, he does. Faison, Malachi Fields is 100 more than Faison, and great leverage off. Every week we've talked about these guys that are off of the chalk. I mean, Faison's going to be 30% plus. Malachi Fields is going to be 5%. I mean, that's just a nice pivot. They're basically the same play to me. I know one has had more targets and stuff, but watching them play, they feel very, very similar to me, and both very good plays. And even Pauling, is this the dude from Wisconsin? He's only 3,200. I actually think you can throw him in the mix too. And NC State is just Hollywood Smothers. But with the way Love is priced, what about a team where you don't play Love, you play Smothers with the Notre Dame passing game, and you play a few of those receivers? You maybe Love just doesn't get all the touchdowns for once. He goes off and only gets 20 or something, and the passing game does damage. Notre Dame looks like an absolute wagon, though, to me. They're going to score 40 or 50 or more points. And it's just a matter of if NC State can score. But the same thing I said about Illinois. What happens when NC State does score? What happens when Hollywood Smothers goes for 150 and 2 touchdowns? What happens? You win a lot of money is what happens, because Notre Dame is going to score at home. There's no way they're not scoring a bunch of points. So I'm very happy with Notre Dame in this spot, and I think there's good pivots. Jeremiah Love is just every week maybe the best play. He'll be 60% owned again in this with you can afford him. He'll probably get you 30 again, no doubt about it. But make no mistake about it, they have pivots in the passing game, and no one's going to play CJ Carr. The easiest pivot in all forms of football when you have a chalky running back is just pivot to the passing game, and maybe the regression, or not the regression, whatever you call it, the pivot, it ends up working out, and they just get all the touchdowns. Instead of going down inside the 20, they score, and all that just breaks your way. It could easily happen. So I like this Notre Dame. I mean, you could play CJ Carr with 2 of these 3 receivers. You could maybe even play Love with it. I don't know if you can get enough points from that. But CJ Carr with a couple receivers, Hollywood Smothers back. I like that a decent amount.
Yeah, the only downside to this game is the fact that they just priced up the NC State wide receivers, right? Like, tight end Dolly is 6,400, Terrell Anderson 6,100. So you're kind of isolated to that Hollywood Smothers stack if you did want to run back. I mean, you could run CJ Bailey naked a little bit because of how dynamic he is on the ground. But yeah, it's not like you can stack CJ Bailey with like 6,400 Justin Jolly on this slate, right? Like, that's
I have
the only
a hard
down.
time like playing CJ Bailey on this slate too. Like it's tough.
Yeah, but I think like if I were to play devil's advocate, right, like he could probably be like projecting almost the exact same as Aiden Childs, right? So it's like if you did, unless you were stacking Childs up with like whoever, Amari Kelly and stuff, but there is like a lot of quarterback plays that are good, and CJ Bailey did have the rushing upside in a few games this season to kind of make it worthwhile. I just wish they didn't price up these wide receivers where, yeah, I mean 61 and 6,400 for his top two guys, a little bit steep. We'll move on to the battle. What is this? The Red River rivalry.
I'm glad we got Bruce back this week. I last week I was like Texas might go down, and I forget what he said. He said he might. What'd you say? You might. I forget what you
hearing from me the rest of the weekend, right?
He won't be hearing from me the rest of the weekend, so I'm glad we got him back in the booth.
It was rough.
Bruce, talk to us about this game. Here's your open therapy. You can vent about Texas. You can call Oklahoma the greatest thing since sliced bread. Just vent here, right?
Yeah, man, it was rough. Everybody talking noise in the Discord. I blocked a couple members, and a couple guys.
I was not one of them, for the record. I did not poke the bear.
No, and that's fine. I just needed my time. I just didn't need to see it. But yeah, it's tough when you have no offensive line. I think I saw 42 dropbacks for Arch. He was pressured on 36 of them. So. And it's just hard. You can't run the football. But this is a new week. You got Oklahoma. Solid defense. Total's low here. If Mateer's back, I can see this being Oklahoma win if he's fully healthy. I don't like the Texas defense so far. They do get their best cornerback back, who was missing against Florida last week. So. That Dallas Wilson for Florida is just nuts. I think they end up getting a lot better just because of him. But 42.5 total. I don't have a whole lot of interest, of course. But Mateer at 6,100. I don't mind taking a shot there if he's starting and somewhat healthy. I don't want to play any of his receivers other than maybe Satania at 3,600. It's tough to play any of these running backs as well. Blaylock at 4,400 is not terrible. He's going to have no ownership. Guy's been playing 50% of the snaps, and he looks the part. I think he's a solid running back. But yeah, I hope Texas wins this game, but I don't have high hopes for sure. Mosley, who I mentioned, is 3K, is a really great play. Played 47% of the snaps last week, and I think he looks like the guy that was at Stanford that nuked a couple of slates for us.
Ooh, I like it. Emmett Mosley, the fifth, baby. That's how you know it's good, is when they got the 5, the V at the end of their name. I think John Mateer could have 2 broken hands, and I think Big T would still play him at 6,100 in the biggest game of his career here. You're the biggest John Mateer glazer of all time here. 6,100. It's got to entice you a little bit.
I mean, this game's like the easiest fade of the whole year. Like there's no reason to play anyone in this game. I mean, I'm looking at, he's 6,100, but everyone's too cheap on this slate. You're not gaining enough. There's not really anyone I want to pair with them. I think Texas will keep it close enough in this game. I think it'll be a low scoring game with good defense. There's so many good spots on this slate. I mean, how in the world can I play people in this game? I'm definitely off of it, and I don't see how Texas can win. Can they flip the script and somehow win this game? Maybe Oklahoma's not as good as people think. I don't see how, though. Texas looks bad to me. They've looked bad all year. Arch is just, I don't know what's going to happen with him. If they lose one more, they got to be out of even playoff talk, right? With 3 losses, you would think. I know 3 losses could maybe get in, but not with as bad as they've looked. I don't know. This game's super easy to fade fantasy-wise, though. I am on Oklahoma and the under, but fantasy-wise, super easy fade.
Sounds good. Just keep Mosley in the pool. That's the only guy.
I'm not keeping anybody in the pool.
You got to keep min price Mosley after Bruce called him out.
I don't need a min. I do like that he called him that. I do, but I don't need a min price guy this week. There's too many cheap guys. I've been keeping min now because I'm not gonna live with myself when he crushes after Bruce said that. But I don't like this game.
Makes sense. Let's move on to the Battle of the Techs. We got Virginia Tech taking on Georgia Tech, and it just comes to a point in time where whenever Haynes King is on a slate, you just kind of got to jam him in at this point. I mean, that dude is just an absolute monster in the running game, more specifically in Jamal Haynes as well. I don't think pairing a wide receiver with him, you got to do at all. But then you have Kyron Drones and Aiden Green on the other side of the ball, as well as the other Green, Donovan Green as well. Bruce, Georgia Tech, 2-touchdown favorite here. How are you liking this game?
Yeah, I like Georgia Tech. I just think they just absolutely roll here. Haynes King is too good, at home especially. He's 9,400, but man, his usage is at 44%. Huge rushing upside, 7 rushing touchdowns this year. And Virginia Tech isn't good. Going on the road, playing a tough team here. Jamal Haynes at 6,800 is not terrible either. I don't know if I want to play both of them together. I think 35 team total is nice, but you can probably get away with playing both of them together in cash. But you're kind of risking it a little bit. I don't hate that. But on the other side, you mentioned the Greens. They're not bad. Eric Rivers was good in their last game with 12 targets, and he was really good at I think it was Florida International before moving to Georgia Tech, and this is his first big game. I think he's not terrible at 4,200. Rutherford's there at 4,300 as well, so I don't mind Rivers. I think he's a big play guy. Just mostly Haynes King. The two Haynes are always in play, and just moving on to the next one.
Yep, I am kind of with you there. I don't want to get too loaded up in this game, but obviously we have seen Georgia Tech games. They can kind of grind out to a little bit of a halt. I know Big T, you mentioned that in the past too. What are you doing with this one?
Yeah, so the opposite strategy of what I've kind of been talking about on the show, where you game stack and stuff. I think on a slate like this, you can just play 2 running quarterbacks, like Haynes King being one of them, obviously, and then whoever, Chili's, Avery Johnson. I'm sure there's some more runners on there too. Even Mateer, like a Mateer in a build like that, where you just play the quarterback, you don't correlate at all as far as that, and then just slam a bunch of upside guys in there. I mean, Haynes King's going to be tough to ignore. I actually like it on this slate in my stacks, like I'm saying, just because then I don't have to worry about, I don't want to play Rivers or Rutherford. You can. I'm not saying don't. It could work, but you don't have to force it. I always want to correlate. I love that you don't have to on a slate like this. There's just so many options. Or you can play it with Ohio State. If you don't think Illinois is great, you play Ohio State, a little stack with Haynes King, some value guys in there. I feel pretty good about that. And I just feel so comfortable with this floor. Over 100 3 games this year, over 20 carries. Three games it looks like this year. I mean, just massive volume, massive usage. And it's on a slate where 9,400 really doesn't phase you. There's so many cheap guys you can play. So I'm on that. And then the Virginia Tech, I'm not going to play the other Haynes. I don't really want to play Jamal Haynes. He's a decent play. Maybe I play him a little bit, but I don't like him as much, and I don't want to play both of them. And then the other side, maybe you could play Drones as your other runner and just hope this game they kind of just get in a battle where they run back and forth, but I don't know. I mean, the good thing about Drones is he's a runner that no one's going to play. Georgia Tech's defense definitely isn't that good. You got a 55 total, which is one of the bigger ones on the slate. Is there any 60s? There's no 60s on this slate. 59.5 for Notre Dame. I don't know. I think this game is decent for the running quarterbacks.
Yeah, I like it. Georgia Tech, if they run the table up until that Georgia game, they're probably going to be looking into the playoffs maybe. They're already 13th ranked team in the country in the AP poll. So every game will matter to them, especially down the stretch here. And if they beat Georgia, then, God, they'd probably already be in at that point. let's move on to Iowa State, Colorado. I had the pleasure of watching the entire Iowa State game last time out. Rocco Becht, he's a tough son of a gun, man. I mean, Chase Sowell got hurt in that first quarter and then came back and still got value. What was it, like 6 for 67 and 1 or something like that? Yeah, ended up doing pretty well despite missing a significant portion of that first half with whatever injury it seemed like he had. But at 3,300, he's going to be another decent click here. Brahmer and Eskilidison, all those guys at 37 and 3,400 here. Rocco Becht, I don't know. It just seems like the volume isn't there for all these guys. Like I don't really like double stacking him at all. But on the Colorado side of the ball here, Bruce, I actually have a lot of interest because I think Colorado takes this game outright. I think that Salter, if he can just have a mediocre game, they're going to be able to move the ball against this team. And Iowa State's defense against UC was abysmal in every sense of it. I think Welch is a good play at 4K. Even I know that the running back situation can be a little bit murky at times, but with Dallin Hayden in the mix too. But I'm all over Colorado to put up a lot of points here. What do you think, Bruce?
Yeah, I think this Iowa State team the defense kind of matches up well with Colorado. They usually have that extra defensive back on the field. So I don't know. I've never been a big fan of Caden Salter at all, and with so many other plays on this slate at quarterback, I don't love it. But I kind of I could kind of see this game playing maybe like a 24-21 type of game. Especially if Iowa State's able to run the ball. Carson Hansen is questionable for Iowa State, so if he misses, we're going to get Sama at 4,300 as a starter against this Colorado defense. So that's going to be interesting. Just another value guy to add to the pile there. So and another injury on the Colorado side was Draylon Miller is going to miss at receiver. So you have a 3K starter likely in Quentin Gibson. And he's from Texas. He's a true freshman, a small receiver. And he got some targets last week too. So there's some good value in this game for sure. I just think it kind of plays kind of a lower scoring game. Sowell is a former Colorado player who got cut by Dion. I mentioned it in the Discord this morning. So he has something to play for here, and he's only 3,300 this week. Had 9 targets last week. So I think he's interesting. Marion Miller is always interesting, especially with Draylon Miller out at 5,100. He's probably going to get more volume as the number 1 guy. So yeah, it's I don't know. I just don't see it scoring a ton, but I like some individual guys here.
Marion Miller had 2 touchdowns last week. Is that what it was against TCU? 6 for 89 and 2. So yeah, I do like that there. Big T, how are you feeling about this game?
Yeah, I was going to talk up Sowell too. Like last week, everyone was tilting him in the chat, the Run Pure chat in the Discord. Then he housed one pretty late in the game, I think, if I remember right. But he just looks like he's ready for a breakout. I might have him as my play of the day today, so I'm glad Bruce brought him up. 3,300. Again, you have so many cheap people. There is a build out there where I could see like playing as many like dead cheap guys as you can, and then just shove them with the studs. And again, I know that's an awkward build, but you got a quarterback at 3K. You got a guy like Sowell at 3K. You got a lot of guys down in there that you can pop off. And maybe you play, again, I haven't put it in an actual build, but what if you get 4 9K guys or something, and then you play it with the 3? I'm going to look real quick just so I don't sound like an idiot. What if you play, if I played 3K guys, let's just say you play King, you play, let's just say Avery Johnson type. Avery Johnson, can you fit 2 more? If you played Jeremiah, if you played Love, and you played Smith. Yeah, you're still, I mean, that's a really awkward build, and maybe you don't need to go to that extreme. Like maybe you play 3, or you play 3 in a 7K, or some of that stuff, but you still could. That's 4 9K guys. I still have 3,350 for my last 4 spots, but you got a 3K quarterback. You got another 3,300 guy here. you can make it work. And like Sowell can get you 30. I don't know. I feel decent about doing an awkward build like that. And again, it might not be 2 9Ks. Maybe it's a 9K quarterback and a 7K. And then you spend up for one more really good play like Deuce Robinson or something is in there and 3K guys. So there's a lot of things you can do, but Sowell might be my favorite play. I mean, I watched that whole game last week because Rubio was freaking talking trash about the game. So I was watching it. And like Hop said, he could have had 200 yards. It looks like an explosion's coming. Iowa State's always had good receivers. I just could see it. I could see a major explosion coming. So sign me up for him. But the rest of the game, I kind of agree with Bruce where I'm not a Salter fan. He does fit the profile, though, of a running quarterback. How did Sorsby do on the ground last week?
Very solid. Very solid on the ground. I think he had like 52 yards or whatever in a tutty.
52 and a tud. I mean, Salter, I don't know. I totally agree with Bruce that I think he sucks. He kind of fits my billing, though, where I don't hate the idea of him just going in there. I don't have to pair anyone with him. You can play Miller or either one of them. Is the other Miller hurt?
Yeah, very long.
He's out. Okay, only one Miller. You can play Miller with him. Yeah, Salter, though, he's okay. That's it for this game.
Yeah, and just correction, 64 yards for Sorsby. I didn't mean to short
64 and a tud.
Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. I don't know. I'm going to be a little higher on Colorado. I like some O'Marion Miller a decent chunk. But you're exactly right. I just did that build on the 9K stuff. It's so fittable.
I think 3 could honestly, because 4 is just maybe a hair too thin unless Bruce really finds us 1 or 2 more. But 3, I think 3 9K guys, because there's some guys you're still going to want to play. I mean, just think about that, though. All of a sudden, you got Haynes King. I mean, you got the best player at every position. Haynes King, Jeremiah Love, Jeremiah Smith. And then those guys all have 40-point upside, and you just work off that. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It is going to be chalky, too, so I'm not saying it's the most crazy build ever, but I don't know. We can get different at 1 or 2 spots after that.
Very much so. It is incredibly fittable. I mean, those 3, and you still have a bunch of salary. You can still play another quarterback.
And your floor is high too, right? Like your floors, even if they don't go off, you got massive floors.
100%. I'm kind of with you on that, right? I think that would definitely be the chalky route, but if you can play the 2 best Jeremiahs in the world, I mean, Jeremiah Love and Jeremiah Smith, why wouldn't you do that? And that's, including if you didn't even want to play Haynes King, then you even have more salary that you can deal with at the running back spot too. Indiana at Oregon. Talk about a litmus test game. Indiana is going to be wanting this one pretty bad, at least keeping it close to the very least. I don't think they want to deal with the questions that they dealt with in the CFP last year when it looked like they were going to get blown out by Notre Dame and then kind of made it a little bit closer. Potentially if they get 2 losses, there's going to be a lot of conversation about how they looked in those 2 losses, especially Bruce talked to me about some Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza, the potential number 1 pick in the NFL draft next year.
Yeah, this is probably the best game of the day. I want to think, other than the Texas OU game, but that game could be pretty defensive. I think this game has a lot of upside for sure. We don't really know a ton about these 2 teams. I know Oregon, had a big win already this season, so. I do kind of like Dante Moore here at 8,700 at home. He doesn't run a ton, so you're always going to want to play him with receiver. So DeCorian Moore at 4,900 is not bad, and Sadiq as well. But it's just if you're paying that much for a quarterback, you want him to run just a little, especially with the guys we have on this slate. You just absolutely would have to nuke. Hit some long passing plays to DeCorian Moore to get there. But he doesn't have that 40-point upside, some of these other quarterbacks do in that same price point. Same with Mendoza. He runs a little bit more, just not like a superior athlete like some of these other quarterbacks are. But then you have the Oregon running back situation, which they're all cheap, but they rotate so much. Mekhi Hughes finally decided to redshirt and transfer out of there. So, they have one less, but they still have Lamar, Hill, and Whittington, and then even Jordan Davidson they run in at the goal line. So that's tough. I don't want to play any of these Oregon running backs really, or Indiana running backs really. Himby would be the only one that interests me any. But I don't mind playing DeCorian Moore by himself and Surratt as always. Omar Cooper is always in play. He's had 7+ targets every week this season. So he's 7K though. So you are paying a premium for him. But yeah, it's going to be a good game, but I just don't know if it's going to be great for DFS because you don't have the upside really with these guys rotating a ton.
Yeah, very much so, especially at that running back spot. What was it last time they played against Penn State? It was 10 carries for Hill, 7 carries for Whittington, 7 carries for Lamar. It really does feel like DeCorian Moore and Dante Moore, like the only 2 viable guys that I'd really want from Oregon in that capacity. Elijah Surratt, even in a bad spot against Iowa, ended up getting there. I will take my L on that. That dude might be a little bit better than Omar Cooper.
Yeah, that was what I tried to tell you when you were talking to him. Like, he could definitely pop off.
I won't ignore it either. Yeah. Surratt, what was that? 25 fantasy points. You also had Cooper as well. He did pretty well too. I mean, they can throw the ball. I just have a question. It's like, how do you think of Oregon's defense? And that's to you, Big T. I mean, this Oregon defense held really firm for 3 whole quarters until Drew Aller kind of got going in that 4th quarter. But they really haven't been tested. I mean, Oklahoma State, Montana State, Northwestern, Oregon State, then Penn State. So this is like their first good quarterback that they're going against this time out. Like, how do you think Indiana's going to handle it?
Yeah, I mean, I think this game could play. I'm still not totally sold on Oregon. It is part of the issue. Like, I look at their players. I think they're good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like saying I think they stink, but I'm not sure they're necessarily as good as other people will think they are. I was trying to see so Oregon's only -7 at home, 54. I feel like Indiana can play with them a little bit more than some people might think. It feels like a good spot. And Surratt on a slate where you have unlimited salary. I mean, Surratt feels like a really good play to me again. He's got a massive floor, a massive ceiling. It's a somewhat low-owned spot for a slate like this. He's still going to be 10, 15%, but for the upside he gives, I like that. I don't really want to play that much else. Like, I can't pay 7K for Cooper. Hemby, I'm not going to play Hemby on the road. I'm not going to play Mendoza for 8K. But Surratt, I think, is a great play. And then the Oregon side, I think you can get creative. Moore looks pretty good. Gary Bryant at 3,200. Sadiq, I like this Sadiq guy a lot. Is he in? Let me see. Is he? So it says questionable, but I think I saw he's going to play. It says visibly limping when I pull up the report. I think that was like a week ago or so, but. So we got to check on that. Do you know anything about that, Bruce?
Not yet. Nothing yet.
I liked him early in the year. What game was that? I think it was it's the Northwestern game because I was sweating that at the end of it with the spread where I
backdoor that you got. Of course you got the backdoor.
Yeah, it was. I mean, this guy's got 3 touchdowns. I thought he looked pretty good. I'm looking at him. He's injured. His numbers don't look that great, so it's just an eyeball test, but no one's going to play this guy. And I don't know. I don't hate playing a receiver here, Moore or Sadiq or Bryant. And I don't really want to play Dante Moore. I don't love it on this slate, but I do like the receivers, and I like Surratt in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I'm very curious to see how Indiana handles this Oregon team a little bit. I wonder if it plays just a little bit slower. I could see them kind of trying to slow this game down to a little bit of a halt. And that would be my only fear, is that if Indiana went down early, though, I think I would like this game a little bit more on the over. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how Indiana plays. I think there's a ton of question marks surrounding them, right? They beat the hell out of Illinois, but like everyone's like, oh, we're still not convinced. It was only Illinois, and this is their first chance since Notre Dame last year to kind of prove people wrong for the most part. So yeah, I think this will be a really fun game to watch, though, from a neutral point of view. I'm definitely on DeCorian Moore with you guys. 4,900 is probably a little bit too cheap. One
How do
thing I
you
noticed,
say Notre Dame, by the way? You keep getting a little twitch in your nut. People have been making fun of me all week about how I say Jaguars, and you freaking got a little hitch in your Notre Dame. What do you keep calling them?
Notre Dame.
Yeah, you got a little hitch in it. I don't know what it is. You got a slight hitch in your get up.
Yeah, well, because when I say Notre Dame, and people
Nutter, that's what it sounds like. Nutter, like you're getting a nutter butter.
Yeah, it's not the way you pronounce it. It's Notre Dame. It's Notre Dame. Bruce is sitting here. How do you pronounce
Notre
Notre Dame, Bruce?
in your get up with the Notre Dame there.
Bruce, how do you pronounce ND?
I think it's just Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame. There you go. The hitch is back, baby.
Bruce, no, he doesn't say it like you, Rubio. He said it normal.
Notre Dame.
You got a hitch.
You say it one more time for me, Big T.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Yeah, you got that Kentucky twang in there.
Bruce,
I will say this. I have been called out in my Jags pronunciation before in the past too. I say Jaguars as well.
My freaking school was the Jaguars, and I've said it wrong forever. I admitted it. I took my L on the show yesterday that I say it wrong. I looked it up. It's Jaguars.
Yeah, Jaguars.
Not wires. Wars.
Correct.
It's unbelievable. I went to the freaking school. I got the shirt right here. I can't even say my own school right. How
you
could you
wore it just for this?
Yeah, you made sure that this would become a topic up here. Yeah, 100% made sure.
Because everybody was making fun of me. I can't believe it.
And Bruce, you just put this in the comments here. Sadiq should be fine. Limped off last game, but came back in. So.
And they had a bye week, both Indiana.
Oh, that was 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah,
that makes me feel better about it.
Let's move on to our last game of the day, the Battle of the Purple. We got TCU taking on Kansas State. I'm kind of shocked that Kansas State in this game is nearly a pick 'em for the most part. You know me and my love for TCU, without a doubt. They're one of my favorite teams to watch. I love watching Josh Hoover. Avery Johnson starting to look a little bit better throwing the ball, especially to Jace Brown. What was that? They got robbed last game against Baylor. Then they pulled off, what was it, Brown's face mask, and he had a clear path to the end zone, and they ended up calling the play dead because of the rule. Bruce, how do you feel about this one? Who's going to win?
Yeah, there's another value piece in this game with Dylan Edwards out. You get Joe Jackson at 4,100. So I think he's going to be one of the more popular plays. I just ran projections a minute ago, and he ended up in my optimal.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I think he's going to be pretty popular. Just because the TCU defense isn't great this year either. So don't mind playing him. You also have the TCU passing game. You mentioned Josh Hoover. McAllister was banged up last week, but he looked the best. They didn't really sling it around too much. They were able to run the football effectively, but McAllister got 6 targets, and I think he scored as well, if I'm not mistaken. Manjack also looked great. So don't mind those guys. Manjack at 4,400. You got Dwyer at 5,400. He's just not getting the work he got that first week against UNC. So it's tough to play him at 5,400. Jace Brown, you mentioned 7,700. Is tough when you have Jeremiah Smith and some of those other guys like Surratt up there in that range. But I think he's a solid play in tournaments. Kavorian Barnes came back last week, played 62% of the snaps, and he's only 4,500. I think he's a good running back play. It's just tough to play TCU running backs and get them correct. But I do think TCU wins this game, and it is pretty close. I like the TCU passing game and the good value at the running back position as well.
Yeah, then Jordan Dwyer. I think I had him last week. Well, I can't. Was that the night slate or no? That was the main. I did have Dwyer, and it's frustrating because I think we all saw on national TV and you get excited, and he just hasn't really lived up to the billing in recent weeks at all. And it just goes. They kept picking on that one corner with him, but McAllister's clearly the guy, and the ownership. It was on Dwyer, and now it's finally going to be off him at 5,400 here. Big T, Kavorian Barnes at 4,500, great value play if you need it at the running back spot. The problem is, we've been kind of playing a bunch of cheap wide receivers throughout the last few weeks and stuff that, if you are getting 62% of the snaps, 4,500 though against Kansas State, that's never a bad click, right?
Yeah, it's just one of those slates where I don't want to play people that I don't feel super confident about, and I don't feel super confident in it. I do like the passing game, though. You have to. I think McAllister, tons of upside. Dwyer, we've seen it, and Manjack might be the best one. He's finally like priced up a little bit, and by best one, I don't mean best talent. I mean he's friggin' everywhere, and he gets targets, he gets peppered, his floor's high. Dwyer's a little banged up too, I think, right? Or no? Is that my misconstruing something? I felt like he's banged up, but Manjack looks good to me. And then Kansas State, I wouldn't jinx that freaking bet I was talking about with his passing yards, because Avery Johnson went for almost 400 last week, and he's coming for me. Whoever that was out there, I forget who I bet. Someone out there is watching, though, that I bet that with. 400 helps the ticker go up. Avery Johnson's a guy I like, though, that you can play Jace Brown with them. You can play this Tibbs dude with them, but you don't have to. He can be another guy that I can just play and hope he runs a lot. Maybe he throws a couple, but runs more than that. And then Joe Jackson, like Bruce said, I don't think there's a ton of competition behind him. This Davon Rice looks okay, I guess, but Joe Jackson looks rock solid for 4,100. That's kind of my point of the 3K quarterback. I know Joe Jackson's only 1,100 more, but man, he is significantly a better play to me just in this spot where they're at home, good value. I mean, he's got 30-point upside here at 4,100. So I like this game a decent amount for a little bit of a late hammer.
Yeah, Dylan Edwards getting hurt in the first quarter last game was really fun, especially when I had his over on rushing yards and a few things. At least he got his touchdown when I did the touchdown. I cannot stand Dylan. He might be my least favorite player in college football. I've had two really bad experiences both this season. Just come on now. But yeah, Joe Jackson should step up. You do got two cheap running backs here, and Joe Jackson's probably the safer of the two for workload, while Kavorian Barnes might be just a little bit more. Has a little bit more juice. I mean, we saw him against UNC break out a long one too. I do like both these guys here in the mid 4K range.
Barnes is so much worse of a play than you just acted like these two are the same. Barnes is significantly worse than Joe Jackson in this spot.
All right, I'm going to bet Barnes 2 touchdowns tomorrow now. So that'll be
my
not bet of the day. Kavorian Barnes 2 tutties.
Right when you get that road running back with all the competition for targets and stuff, and enjoy it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Joe Jackson's probably better straight up. All right, I'll walk that one back at that. I'll walk it back.
You can't let me convince you that easy. You gotta fight back.
I'm still gonna bet the 2 touchdowns. Fuck you. That's something I'll definitely do. It's gonna be a spite bet. All right, guys, let's get our plays of the day here for this 12 gamer in college football land. Big T, you mentioned that you might have had one in the holster already. I see Bruce looking up. I see his hands moving a little bit. He might be searching the slate just a bit. So I'm going to give him a little extra time. And I'm going to mention, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Yeah, like the video below. Get us to a decent amount of likes on this show here. I probably 150 likes would be a great target. That's a low number, too. It's a very low number. But also, feel free to hit subscribe, get alerts to our videos whenever we go live, whether it's college football, NFL, or anything in between. We cover it all. Big T, play of the day.
I think we have a lot of chalk, so I want to find some lower owned guys. Who did I say earlier? Oh, Sowell. I like Sowell for sure, but what's he going to be owned? Is he going to be owned?
Chase Sowell right now in Bruce's ownership right now is around 4%.
I want Sowell. I want to give 2 though, because I think Faison is one of the better plays for Notre Dame, but I want to give the pivot though. Malachi Fields, 4,600, only because he's 100 more than Faison in the same spot, the same everything. I've watched Fields for a few weeks now, 4 straight games of like 12 to 15. I think we could pop off with this Notre Dame one time where the passing game really gets going. I know there's a lot of competition, so it's a little hairy of a spot. Like I said, Notre Dame's a little bit of a wagon, but I'm going to give those 2 low-owned guys, Fields and Sowell, both super cheap receivers. And another thing about Fields, he's the exact same price as Deuce Robinson too. And I don't again, I'm not saying he's a better play than Deuce Robinson, but these are pivots, and pivots that if your team's super chalky, rather than playing one of those guys, just pivot to I'm only going to give Malachi Fields because that's my official one. It's a pivot off the receiver plays, 2 of the top 3. So I love that.
Malachi Fields, there's never been a bad Malachi in college sports. I mean, they just seem to always go off. Bruce, play of the day.
Man, I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path here and go with Kenny Johnson. I think. I think he looks good. And Pitt is gonna be slinging it. I think they're going to be playing from behind. I don't mind playing him with Deuce Robinson as well. Just because I know Deuce is going to be chalky. And he kind of gets them to the point where they're ahead, and it's good correlation. I think you don't always have to correlate in college football, but I think it's a good spot for Kenny Johnson and Deuce Robinson.
Kenny Johnson and Deuce Robinson. Kenny Johnson.
Best part about Kenny Johnson too is you get that same price point.
Oh, yeah.
4,500. The 2 plays of the day for us are pivots off the chalkiest spots of the slate.
Absolutely, and I'm going to go with Omarion Miller for mine. I think Colorado wins that game outright. I think Omarion
like
Miller
your Colorado take. I'm going to be honest. You're talking me into it a little bit. The Colorado duo there.
Nah, stay on that
like playing he's like got health problems, all kinds of issues going. He might lose a few more toes. Like they're going to be out there playing for him, maybe.
They are. They're going to be out there playing for him. And Omarion Miller, he's going to be back. He's going to be a wagon this week. What was it, 6 for 89 and 2 last week? I'm expecting 100 yards and 2 this week. Iowa State won't know what hit them. Colorado, go Buffaloes.
Bruce, did you say so well got kicked off the team by Deion too?
Yeah. Him and Jordan Tyson were there at the same time, and both got kicked off.
Wait, Tyson was there?
Yeah, Jordan Tyson.
Tyson was there, and he wasn't good enough.
Yeah, they both got injured about the same time, and they both got kicked off the team. Cut.
Oh, wow. That is some interesting narrative stuff. I'm going to be sipping the narrative juice and going with some Sewell overs yet again there for tomorrow's game. Run it back with an SGP of Omarion Miller overs too. It's going to be nice. I like it. All right, for Bruce, he had Kenny Johnson, Big T. Obviously, he was a big fan of Malachi Fields, and then I am on Omarion Miller. 3 pivots off very chalky wide receivers as well. Should be a good slate. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate y'all for watching. Big prize pools tomorrow. If we don't win it, we hope one of y'all does. Have a great rest of your day, and bye-bye.